companies often deny, delay, don't pay enough. Hurricane Ida has decimated Terrebonne and Lafourche parishes. By now, you've heard that thousands of people have been taken advantage of by their insurance companies. Don't give up. At Waits and Downer Law Firm, we want to make sure that you have all the facts when dealing with your insurance company. We have the legal experience and ability to make them pay. Get the help you need. At Waits and Downer, it's our goal to not only get you a full damage recovery, but to get the insurance company to reimburse your legal fees. So once again, don't give up. That's exactly what the insurance companies want you to do. Call today for a free consultation. We are local and we are here to stay. Let our years of experience work for you. Pick up the phone, 985-876-0870 for a free consultation.
So I called my gynecologist. He called me a couple of days later and he says, well, Lillette, you have cancer. If you're lucky enough to be in a town that has a cancer center, why not utilize what you have? They treated me like I was royalty.
Visit marybird.org/strength to learn more about Terrebonne General, Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center.
Heavy duty pulling power. To conquer the high road or the off-road. The GMC Sierra Heavy Duty, premium and capable.
Sierra heavy-duty models are arriving weekly at your local GMC dealers. Available for immediate delivery with 0% financing.
I feel so overwhelmed. Being a mom, wife, employee, and now a teacher is exhausting. How do I keep my family safe from everything going on in the world?
Do any of these thoughts sound familiar to you? If so, you are not alone. The South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority offers support, counseling, and treatment geared at helping you where you are right now in the midst of this pandemic and your own personal crisis. The South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority, helping people, changing lives.
All right, Ms. Jerry, thank you so much for being on One-on-One. We appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I want you to take me way back. Let's go to the earliest years that you can remember. We know where you are now, but there had to be some kind of pattern getting to where you are now. So what's the earliest years you can remember? Where were you? Paint a picture for me if you could.
Well, I was born and raised in Morgan City. I've spent all my years of education in Catholic schools, starting with Sacred Heart Elementary, which closed in 1993. Had nuns there back in the day, lots of wonderful priests associated with my development there. Went on from Sacred Heart to Central Catholic High School. After I graduated, I went to Nichols. Actually did not pursue a degree in education. I have a degree in speech, language, and hearing. Once I got married, my husband has a business in Morgan City, so education was a good place for me, and went on to spend all my time teaching.
So you sort of changed direction in midstream.
I did. I did.
So would flexible be a word to describe you?
Yes, I would say flexible would be a great word.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So as you went to Sacred Heart and you went to Central Catholic, and of course I went to a Catholic school, so I probably know how you're going to answer it. The discipline of the religious order that taught, was it, in your opinion, strict or just very to the point?
For me, it was to the point, and I would also elaborate a bit more and say the expectations were high. And it was presented in such a way, for me, that I wanted to live up to the expectations. But I do not have horror stories of religious orders in growing up in schools. They were all wonderful, but I do think they have very high expectations and really tried to guide you to live up to those expectations.
But I've also learned over the years that people who criticize the teachers a lot of times didn't have high expectations. So was that instilled in you at an early age by your parents, or did they sort of stress education to you?
They did, especially my dad. My dad grew up actually on a 2-room houseboat in the river. He was one of 12. So for him, education was always very important. Out of the 12, he was the only one to finish school.
Really?
So from there, worked in the oil field for Shell Oil for a long time. So really pushed us, my siblings and I, to pursue college degrees and recognize the importance of education.
So you mentioned your siblings. How large a family were you a part of?
I have a sister and a brother,
okay.
So not too big.
So from 12 to 3.
Right. Big difference.
I guess he wised up over the years,
yes,
right?
Yes.
One of 12. How do you get any attention when you're one of 12?
I do not know. I only have 2. My husband and I felt like we could handle 2. We could each take one. So, yeah.
So as you're coming through, and you said you switched gears once you got married, but were you a good student?
I loved learning. At this age, I still love learning. So I did apply myself in school and in college, and yeah, I enjoyed that aspect.
What was your favorite subject going through school?
I would actually say math and science.
Really? You were a numbers kind of person.
Well, you know, it makes sense.
Yeah.
There's no room for interpretation, right?
That's a good point. You're in charge of what? Curriculum and everything else? How much do you rely on your past?
I think as individuals, we all have to bring our perspectives from where we came. So I do rely on my past in handling situations now. However, you can't just look at your past, because in education, we have to move forward. And with technology, things are changing every day for all of us, but in the world of education as well. So we can't stay stagnant. So I do bring, I guess, the most important thing from my past that I bring is my passion for learning. So wherever that is, whoever needs assistance, that's really what I do. I assist principals and teachers if they need any sort of help with projects and strategies and that sort of thing. So I will always bring my love of learning into that aspect.
Take me from Sacred Heart School to Central Catholic to all the schools that you were at, what you did before you got to the role that you're at now. I'm trying to figure out how everything shaped.
Right.
Why you're at now.
Well, I think, as I mentioned before, I always loved learning. I loved the teachers that were very passionate about pushing you to do your best and expecting more from you and guiding you to get there. So I think that helped to develop me. I also was very involved all through growing up, whether it was student council, cheerleader, volleyball, whatever I could do. I liked being involved because I think I always liked helping other people and working with other people. Those same characteristics I bring to the job that I'm at now.
So you were pretty versatile. I mean, student council, athletics, studying, that's all different mechanisms that make somebody tick. You had to switch gears a lot, didn't you?
I did. It was also one of the beauties of being in a smaller school.
Yeah.
So we were able to do that, yes.
How many students, I mean, we used to compete against Central Catholic. You're right, it was always a smaller school. What was around the average enrollment? You
know, when we were there, enrollment for grades 7 through 12 was about 400, 450. It's about half that now.
Wow.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
Don't give up. At Waits and Downer Law Firm, we want to make sure that you have all the facts when dealing with your insurance company. We have the legal experience and ability to make them pay. Get the help you need. At Waits and Downer, it's our goal to not only get you a full damage recovery, but to get the insurance company to reimburse your legal fees. Call today for a free consultation. We are local and we are here to stay. Let our years of experience work for you.
Heavy-duty pulling power. To conquer the high road or the off-road. The GMC Sierra Heavy Duty. Premium and capable.
Sierra heavy-duty models are arriving weekly at your local GMC dealers. Available for immediate delivery with 0% financing.
So I called my gynecologist. He called me a couple of days later, and he says, well, Lilette, you have cancer. If you're lucky enough to be in a town that has a cancer center, why not utilize what you have? They treated me like I was royalty.
Visit marybird.org/strength to learn more about Terrebonne General, Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center.
At Big Wheels Travel Center, the fun and excitement are just around the corner in Bayou Blue. Big Wheels is open 24 hours a day and features 24-hour security, clean restrooms, and a wide selection of beer, soft drinks, and chips for all your needs. While you're there, visit the casino for daily cash prizes and drink specials 7 days a week. You'll get the feeling as if you're in a lush Vegas-style casino. Big Wheels also has one of the largest subways in the area. So stop by Big Wheels Travel Center, where everyone's a winner.
In your role now, what would be a meeting if I was meeting as someone that you were trying to get your curriculum, in their mindset? What would that meeting be like? What would you stress to them?
Focus on the students first.
Okay.
Sometimes we get a curriculum, which is really, that's our objectives. That's what we want our students to be able to do when they finish that course, or know when they finish that course. But every student is different. Mm-hmm. So that's the number one thing I stress, that as educators, we do really have to get to know our students. Mm-hmm. And we can't think that they are all gonna fit one mold, one activity. If we really want those students to learn, we have to be able to reach them where they are.
Does the curriculum change with geographic areas? Because now I'm not trying to say one area is smarter than the other, but they may have setbacks in certain areas. So when you're setting a curriculum across the board for the diocese, is it pretty much the same?
Well, the objectives are the same. The skills and strategies are the same, but how we get there may be different. The order that we put them may be different. Because you're right, whether we're talking about our diocese, our state, our country, wherever you are, there are differences. Based on, to go back to our earlier conversation, people have different perspectives, they have different experiences. That's also something that challenges teachers. We have to take that into consideration when we are trying to educate our students.
So did you ever think you'd be sitting down doing a one-on-one about the school systems and the Catholic schools, Diocese of Houma Thibodeau? Was that ever something that registered to you early on, or you just sort of go with the flow?
That has never, ever, ever crossed my mind. If you would have told me even 5 years ago that I would be associate superintendent, I would have laughed. I feel even professionally, I love, as I've said, working with students, working with other teachers, but my move out of the classroom was not something I initiated. It was something a principal pushed me into. And I feel like that's pretty much been everything that's happened for me professionally. Like, as you said, I guess I'm flexible. I guess I can help out where it's needed.
Now you said associate, and I introduced you as assistant. I might have to correct. Associate means you're a peer, but in a different where the fork of the road goes. One goes this way, one goes the other. You're an associate.
And I almost mentioned that at the beginning. That was something I have to say, Father PJ, when the new superintendent was hired, he was very adamant about. They took a little while to determine exactly which word they wanted to use. Personally, as I said, I'm more of a behind the scenes.
Right. But associate and assistant are two different things.
Yes, they are.
So I want to make sure we correct the record.
And the expectations are a little bit different as presented to me, yes.
So let me ask you, with Father PJ, such a colorful person, Dr. Mark, colorful person, are you the steady in the room when y'all meet? Because you know, they both vibrant personalities. You have a great personality, but you're more of a steady personality. Is that the way it goes on in a meeting?
Pretty much. I'm quieter and I listen a lot more. And then when I interject, I've thought it out. That's just my personality wherever I am. With friends at dinner, you know, I'll do the same thing. So yeah, I guess I am the quieter person.
Do sometimes people turn to you and go, Carrie, what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah.
You just absorb, right?
Yes.
Have you always been like that? Even in school?
I think so, yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a son who is just like that too. It's
really
fun to watch him.
Okay. Good. Yet a pear doesn't fall far from the tree, right?
Yeah. Right.
So what are your goals when you got this role and you said, wow, this is a pretty big challenge, or maybe you didn't say that. Mm-hmm. What are your goals in the end? What do you want the students to get from the curriculum?
My number one goal, and I've had more than one conversation with Father PJ about it, is Catholic integration in all content areas. Our schools do a wonderful job with educating our youth. They do a wonderful job with Catholic identity and religion classes and service projects. But to truly make sure that in your math class, in your science class, that we are integrating our Catholic standards is a little bit different way of presenting our curriculum than what we've done in the past, and it's something that I'm very passionate about.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
Don't give up. At Waits and Downer Law Firm, we want to make sure that you have all the facts when dealing with your insurance company. We have the legal experience and ability to make them pay. Get the help you need. At Waits and Downer, it's our goal to not only get you a full damage recovery, but to get the insurance company to reimburse your legal fees. Call today for a free consultation. We are local and we are here to stay. Let our years of experience work for you.
It's hurricane season. What's your game plan? The start of hurricane season is a good time to review and update your plans. Emergency plans should address the following: basic emergency supplies, a list of emergency broadcast stations, evacuation routes, and plans to protect your home and property. For more information on hurricane preparedness, visit TOHSEP.com.
Terrebonne Parish School District is now hiring bus drivers. A valid CDL is required. If you don't have a CDL, we will train you. You must be able to pass a medical health exam and a drug test. Salary range is $19,253 to $29,859. Benefits include free health insurance and retirement. Contact the TPSB Transportation Office at 985-876-7400. HTV, bringing you local news and sports for over 36 years. From tragic events to heartwarming stories from the community, sports from the regular season and into the playoffs. We were there each time COVID struck. And when Hurricane Ida devastated the area, HTV was there before and after the storm, bringing you live storm track updates and coverage of the aftermath. When other news outlets left, HTV was there, helping those in need. So for your news, stick with the ones you know, the ones that know you.
Structural heart disease refers to a defect in the heart's valves, walls, or chambers that keeps the heart from pumping blood properly. Valve or structural heart problems may be present at birth or develop over time. Your risk increases if you have high blood pressure, plaque buildup, history of heart attack, take certain medications, or have certain heart infections. The Structural Heart Program at CIS and Terrebonne General provides innovative solutions and devices with the latest technology to bring the best possible outcomes for patients. Learn more at cardio.com.
Domestic violence is daunting, and the psychological effects can do enduring damage. Obviously, all abuse needs to end. But how? The Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office is dedicated to ending domestic violence and helping those who have already experienced it. Our office supports many programs that educate and adjudicate abuse towards women. If you are a victim of abuse, call the Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office at 873-6500.
Thinking back to my days at Vanderbilt, when we walked in math class or algebra or geometry or whatever we were in, how do you interject God in a math class? That's pretty unique. How do you do that?
Well,
it's got to come from the teacher, obviously.
It does, and you know, depending on the grade level. But you know, let me make it very simplified. If I'm teaching a lower grade, and maybe we're doing addition facts, or maybe we're working on days of the week, or we're working on sequencing. Well, it's very easy when I'm teaching that lesson to also incorporate in the Bible, where would I see these numbers? Where do I see days of the week? Well, we can talk about Genesis. It doesn't have to. We don't have to just talk about the creation story in religion. So what we're doing when this happens is we're not making our faith different from everything else. We're making our faith part of everything else and everything that we do. So
and you got to get everybody on the same page. So when you get math teachers and science teachers and PE teachers and coaches and everybody, do you get them in one room and sort of tell them what the vision is?
No.
Okay.
In fact, we started this summer with this integration with social studies. Okay. So we did have social studies teachers only, and it was voluntary. So we had representatives from elementary and high school. So what we did was we spent time working on these are the social studies standards that we need to teach our students, and these are the Catholic standards. So how can we integrate the two? So we actually did start that process, and
it's one brick at a time.
It is one, and it does not happen overnight.
And that's sort of bold. Y'all do have a directive that you're going in, but I'm glad you said that, because some people I've watched them in the past come in and try to change everything all at once. Teachers go in shock, students go in shock, everybody's in a disarray. So one brick at a time. That's more effective, isn't it?
In my opinion, and I am always of that mindset. And you know, even when I was at Central Catholic as curriculum specialist and assistant principal, working with teachers, we would target one or two areas, and we need to get that solid. I'm very foundational. If we don't have a solid foundation, we can't build anything. Right now with this Catholic integration, we're starting small because I have to make sure the teachers understand and the teachers are on board, so that this takes effect and that it lasts. So yeah, very foundational.
Change of administration, and you were there for that. Whenever you have a change of administration, sometimes people just get real nervous and get different directions. Archbishop Fobb going off to, bigger domains, I guess we should say. For the PJ comes in, how's the transition been like for you?
For me, it was wonderful. Two different personalities. You mentioned my personality is different from yours and Mark's. Right. Two very different personalities, very wonderful individuals. But the transition for me was very smooth. Father PJ probably came in my office within the first week that he was there. I haven't missed a beat because of that transition.
And I would think that they probably have so much trust in you that they come in and say, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because it's not broken.
Oh, so they have said, yes. So I'm just going to listen, and we're going to keep moving forward for our Catholic education.
But isn't that a great compliment coming from somebody who comes in? Like I said, a lot of people come in and, oh, let me put my thumb on this department. Let me put it on this. Let me change this. Let me change. You must have won them over at one point. You must be doing something right, because for them to let you keep rolling, they must have total faith in you, correct?
Well, I don't know about total faith. I can't speak for them. I do, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, my passion for the integration of Catholic standards. It has been something that I've been very vocal about. to Father PJ, Bishop Fobb, Bill. So I think that is something that they are excited about as well.
Where did you get that passion, I guess, for Catholicism? Did it come from your mom? Did it come from your dad? Did it come from both?
I think it came from both, and even my grandmother, I remember, was, you know, very faith-filled. And I think, you know, growing up in that environment, that Catholic environment, resonated with me. I think it helps mold our children in interactions with people. I think it does help with society. It helps us understand the differences in people and appreciate differences in people.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm. This one-on-one program has been...
That's a pretty tight spot.
Watch this.
Your Buick Park said so. That's so you.
Of course you know where we're going. That's so you.
I got a sixth sense.
And a head-up display.
They're here.
You brought all these players in your Buick?
Yep.
So you.
It is.
At the heart of every Buick SUV is you. New vehicles are arriving weekly at your local Buick dealers. Available for immediate delivery with no interest. See your local Buick dealer.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Alford, your host for To Your Health with Terrebonne General Health System. Our weekly show provides the latest in healthcare specialties only offered by Terrebonne General. Join us each Wednesday at 7 p.m. to stay up to date with the latest innovations in health. Terrebonne General provides healthcare breakthroughs in cardiology, cancer care, women's health, health and wellness, and much more. You don't want to miss our next To Your Health. See you then.
At Big Wheels Travel Center, the fun and excitement are just around the corner in Bayou Blue. Big Wheels is open 24 hours a day and features 24-hour security, clean restrooms, and a wide selection of beer, soft drinks, and chips for all your needs. While you're there, visit the casino for daily cash prizes and drink specials 7 days a week. You'll get the feeling as if you're in a lush Vegas-style casino. Big Wheels also has one of the largest subways in the area. So stop by Big Wheels Travel Center, where everyone's a winner.
You Drop Shipping and Crating Pros is a highly versatile company that will ship any size, any weight, anywhere. You Drop Shipping and Crating Pros is a full-service logistics provider focused on expert packing, crating, and transportation solutions. The local oil and gas industry utilizes our professional crating and shipping services that support their offshore and international needs. You Drop Shipping and Crating Pros is authorized and recognized to construct shipping crates built for exports. You Drop Shipping and Crating Pros, now at our new location at Capitol Boulevard.
Insurance companies often deny, delay, don't pay enough. Hurricane Ida has decimated Terrebonne and Lafourche parishes. By now, you've heard that thousands of people have been taken advantage of by their insurance companies. Don't give up. At Waits and Downer Law Firm, we want to make sure that you have all the facts when dealing with your insurance company. We have the legal experience and ability to make them pay. Get the help you need. At Waits and Downer, it's our goal to not only get you a full damage recovery, but to get the insurance company to reimburse your legal fees. So once again, don't give up. That's exactly what the insurance companies want you to do. Call today for a free consultation. We are local and we are here to stay. Let our years of experience work for you. Pick up the phone, 985-876-0870 for a free consultation.
Welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Jacob DeGate. Glad to be your host. It's that time of year for elections, and on the set we now have State Representative Jerome Zarang, who's going to try to help us navigate some of the things that are on the ballot this year. Good to see you, Jerome.
Jacob, thanks for having me.
All right. Of course, we have constitutional amendments. That's one thing that no matter whenever you have election, you're usually going to have some constitutional amendments on the ballot. I know some people have a problem with the number of constitutional amendments, but some of there are there for good reasons and whatnot. But we have 8 on the ballots. What can you say about them?
Well, the thing is it's interesting that the U.S. Constitution has only been amended 27 times. The Louisiana Constitution has been amended over 250, and it looks like they're trying to do with it. There's going to be 11 constitutional amendments this fall, 8 of which will be on the November ballot, and there's 3 more on the December ballot. So yes, it seems like there's always an opportunity to throw another one on there.
All right, we'll start it off. We can go with amendment number 1 if you're ready. I think we have a slide we can
Sure.
pull up on it.
Yeah, and amendment number 1 is actually mine. It's one of the ones I introduced. Yeah, it was with the treasurer, and essentially what it does is, so we have several funds in Louisiana that are used to permanent funds for trust funds that fund various things. The most within this amendment, the ones that have the greatest amount in terms of potential and benefit from this are the Louisiana Education Quality Trust Fund, the Millennial Trust Fund, Rockefeller Wildlife Refuge Funds. And the thing is when these funds were created, there's over $3.4 billion in those funds, but when they were created, there was a limitation of which they could only use 35% to invest in equities. But what this amendment does is essentially lets these funds, invest up to 65%, the treasurer to invest up to 65% in equities, which is similar to the Teachers Retirement Fund. All the other funds in Louisiana allow that up to that 65%. Doesn't mean that they have to, it just gives them the flexibility. And this will provide a lot of money for educational purposes that the trust fund is used for. Also, they have the Quality Education Fund, but there's also the health fund that they have that will provide additional money for health care. And this just allows them to take advantage of the market when the market's good. And it's just kicking up that exemption from 35% to 65% for the treasurer to be able to invest those funds.
Okay, and the money that's sitting in right now, is it just in a bank earning a nominal interest, or how is it right now?
Well, it's in various, some of it is in very conservative investments, simply because, again, they can only invest 35% in equities. Mm-hmm. This would allow them to invest in broad spectrum but risk-free. Everyone, thinks and assumes that, well, they're going to invest in the stock market. Stock market's so volatile and you may lose the money. But it allows them to invest up to 65%. But the treasurer and the others have been doing this a long time, and they have people who they live and breathe this stuff, and they're going to invest it to maximize the return, but they're not going to put it at risk. Mm-hmm. So it just gives them the flexibility to invest more of those dollars in equities. Well, right now they're only limited to 35. And again, many of the other funds throughout Louisiana that were created allow that 65% threshold, of which these several funds don't have that ability right now.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to the next one. We have amendment number 2, and that regards some property tax exemptions with people that are veterans with disabilities. It seems like this one or one like it has come up numerous times. I remember
there's several, and God bless them. Our first responders, military. There seems to be at least every session or two a exemption that. And again, I think everyone supports our military and everyone else, but there are a slew of exemptions that actually impact local governments, because these are going to be on property taxes, which directly affect local government. So people have to consider if, in fact, or how they're going to vote on this based upon, again, everybody supports the military, but the potential impacts to local governments. And so it's property tax changes under the proposed amendment. It's various degrees based upon the disability of the military disability and their ranking and how it is. So if they're 100% disabled, they would have to pay no parish taxes. Right now, the limit is up to $150,000. Everyone has a $75,000 homestead exemption. Right now, it's up to $150,000. This is going to remove that exemption and put it up to, they won't pay any, if they're 100% disabled, they won't pay any parish taxes. If they're 70 to 99% disabled, if their classification is 70 to 99%, their disability rating, they'll get the 75 like everybody else, but they'll also get an additional 45,000, which would bring it up to 120,000. And if they're 50 to 69%, again, the 75% we'd all get, but they get an additional 25,000. So it would be up to 100,000 if their disability ranking was from 50 to 60%. So I know these amendments kind of confusing after a while, and there's different layers within them, but this is based upon the rating and the percentage of that rating, allowing for disabled veterans to receive some exemptions on their property taxes.
All right. And right now, though, they do have some exemptions, all right, but this is just simply an expansion of that.
Right. So most disabled, based upon their rating, if their rating is 100% right now, they have an exemption of up to 150,000.
Okay, that sounds good. Looks like we got about 6 more to go, running low on time, but so we can take a quick break. When we'll come back, we'll discuss the next one. It's talking about civil service employees. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more right here on HTV.
Pay below MSRP at Barker Mazda.
That's right. Pay below MSRP on your new Mazda today.
Check us out online at barkermazda.com or come see us at Barker Mazda in Houma.
Terrebonne Parish School District is seeking individuals for the following maintenance positions: licensed plumber, electrician, carpenter, HVAC techs with chiller experience, HVAC techs with general experience. These positions have great work environment, excellent benefits, retirement, and insurance. Apply online at tpsd.org. Terrebonne Parish School District, a great place to work.
Heavy-duty pulling power to conquer the high road or the off-road. The GMC Sierra Heavy Duty, premium and capable.
Sierra Heavy Duty models are arriving weekly at your local GMC dealers. Available for immediate delivery with 0% financing.
Don't give up. At Waits and Downer Law Firm, we want to make sure that you have all the facts when dealing with your insurance company. We have the legal experience and ability to make them pay. Get the help you need. At Waits and Downer, it's our goal to not only get you a full damage recovery, but to get the insurance company to reimburse your legal fees. Call today for a free consultation. We are local and we are here to stay. Let our years of experience work for you.
The kitchen table should be where families talk about their dreams, not how to pay for their medicines. I led the effort to cap insulin prices at $35. I have worked and worked to lower prescription drug prices. And I helped pass a law to make cheap, generic drugs more available. I will never, ever quit on your family. I'm John Kennedy. I approve this message.
If your business needs serious hustle, our internet has plenty. Switch to Rev Business All Fiber Internet with fiber optic velocity close to the speed of light. Sign up and get 3 months free and 30% off. Build your plan at letsrev.biz. Let's Rev. Whoever said you can't have it all, never had internet that could do it all. Switch to Rev. No contracts, no data caps, no nonsense. It's the high-speed internet you need. Build your plan at letsrev.com. Let's Rev.
Pay below MSRP at Terrebonne Lincoln.
That's right. Order your new Lincoln today and pay below MSRP.
Plus, lock in a low monthly rate. So come see us at Terrebonne Lincoln in Houma.
Welcome back to Bayou Time. I'm Jacob DeGate, and we're talking about the constitutional amendments that are on the ballot this coming November 8th with the election. I'm here with State Representative Jerome Zarang. We've gone through the first two amendments, now up to the third one. This one is regarding classified civil service employees and their ability to support people, their family members in public elections.
Mm-hmm. So this is a longstanding exemption, ethics exemption that was generated in the early 40s within the Constitution, but essentially it puts a restriction on those classified employees. Immediate family members can't participate in certain circumstances within elections if their family member is running from and exempts them from, or it doesn't exempt them, it precludes them from engaging or participating in election activities. This is going to remove that exemption, and quite frankly, there are 51,000 civil service employees. The exemption was put in place for a particular reason, and I guess it's just some people who were relatives of folks running for office felt that they were prevented from participating in the election process, which, again, voting has nothing to do with that. This is just allowing them to do commercials, to go to events, to put posters in their yards or signs, or go out and promote their family member. And this would remove that exemption.
All right, now moving on to amendment number 4. This one's dealing with local governments and their ability to waive water charges that are a result of damage to the water system not caused by a customer. Okay, and can you tell us, I guess, the reasoning behind this one? I'm sure it deals with a little bit of on the constitutional prohibition of the donation of public funds and whether or not the water service companies have that ability to waive some of these charges.
Right, and essentially that's, for the most part, the problem is that the state cannot give away anything of value. And the problem is there were several instances where people were their water line was broken, or there was some impact on their water system from the main to their house. So right now, as it is, from the main to the street, it's the water, the provider of the water is responsibility. But from the meter to the house, it's the homeowner's responsibility. Again, some question, well, is it the responsibility of other people to pay for maybe something that might have happened? We all understand that we've experienced before. You might have a water pipe break, or if there's a freeze, your pipe breaks. Is it the water system or the other people who participate's responsibility to pay for the fact that you didn't either wrap your pipes? But the reality is that the water systems themselves can negotiate right now. This is just going to waive that ability in terms of being able to not impose that charge on those or increase the rates on those homeowners.
I see. Okay, moving on. We next amendment. This one deals about the ability to allow the levying of lower millage rate by local taxing authorities while maintaining the authority's ability to adjust the current authorized millage rate. So this one's a little bit more complicated. This one is. Public probably does need it explained a little bit.
It is, and it's somewhat confusing, and it is. And it could have significant impacts on local entities. For instance, levy districts and other entities that rely on these millages. But what happens right now, if there's a millage that's being imposed, the Constitution requires that if the assessed values go up, that if they're going to, you can reduce the millage to maintain the amount that's being collected. But if for some reasons there might be an emergency, there might be additional, for instance, in the levy district, might be additional projects that they need additional dollars, they can keep the millage and receive the additional revenue. But to continue to do that, every 4 years they're required to go back and put that on the rolls. This would remove that requirement that they have to within the 4-year period come back and put it to the people, because if they don't, then it would just it would get to the level that it was, and I know it sounds confusing, but it will get to the level that achieved that revenue that was being acquired through that millage. For instance, if there's a 2.5 assessment on property and property values go up, well, to keep the 2.5, to get the same amount that the 2.5 was generating, you don't have to increase that. but the assessments go up to where it can now be 3.0. Well, to maintain that same level, you can go back to the 2.5. So right now, if they go up to the higher level, they're required within that 4-year period to put it back on the roll and not necessarily have to keep collecting if they want to have that ability to do that. This just removes that requirement, and it's actually a good thing to help local governments who are in need, just removing that requirement to have to come back within a 4-year period to put it back on the rolls.
I see. Okay. Now, going on to amendment number 6, we have about a minute left. Can you explain this one a little bit?
Yeah, so this is primarily for New Orleans, and it limits increased property assessments in New Orleans, and granted property values are going up. It's hard for people in fixed incomes to have to pay that increase. It doesn't affect people who rent. They're still going to have their rent's going to go up if the property value increases, so it doesn't really impact them. But homeowners and others, if their assessments go up, so will their taxes. So this is going to limit, in some cases, to no more than 10%, particularly here in New Orleans. It's only specific to New Orleans, but the concern is if they pass it over there, then it's going to trickle down to other entities as well. So it's just if people are interested in addressing that 10%, eliminating that 10% increase, and that's specific to just Orleans.
All right. We got 2 more on the ballot for November, and then 3 more from December. If we have time, we'll try to get to all those, but we need to take another quick break. So stay tuned for more right here on HTV.
This is the Treeinator. I'm back. If you have some sick old girly tree, chop it now before the hurricane kills it and blows it on your house. Don't hire some out-of-town girly man to hustle you out of your hard-earned money. Tell them, hasta la vista, baby. That me and my team of military veterans come and pump your tree up and prepare a defensive position for future threats. Even if your tree is behind enemy lines and the bullets are flying and the bombs are going off, we will get your tree down.
Selecting an insurance provider for your business is a big decision.
With over 26 years of experience, our offered team is your solution for quality and proven coverage.
The customer service you remember from years ago is what we pride our team on.
We know how important your company is to the community.
From small businesses to large businesses, Alford & Associates can manage your insurance. It's our job.
Alford & Associates, benefiting your employees and protecting your business.
Heavy-duty pulling power. To conquer the high road or the off-road. The GMC Sierra Heavy Duty. Premium and capable.
Sierra heavy-duty models are arriving weekly at your local GMC dealers. Available for immediate delivery with 0% financing.
There are a lot of reasons Tanner McGee spent the last 7 years fighting for families in the legislature. But there are 3 that stand above the rest: Julia, Grace, and Kate. As a father of triplet girls, Tanner believes the most important things we can give our children is a loving home and a safe community. That's why he served in the legislature, and why with over a decade of legal experience, Tanner McGee will be a judge our families can depend on.
AJ Doman Chevrolet is your one-stop shop for all your new, used, and medium-duty Chevrolet needs. The 23s are arriving daily, and now's your chance to save on all remaining inventory. Buy with confidence with lifetime warranties on all used cars at no additional charge.
Tired of being told no? We say yes at AJ Doman Chevrolet at the foot of the Market City Bridge in Berwick.
AJ Doman Chevrolet, the dealership that works for you.
Lifetime warranties excluded on certain units.
Led by a 7-member commission, the Terrebonne Port was created to assist our local industry in promoting economic development. We monitor government regulations that affect our local industry and work with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to secure maintenance dredging funds. Because the HNC is the main artery for the heartbeat of Terrebonne's economy, Terrebonne Port fights a constant battle for funding to maintain the federally authorized navigable depth. We are now leasing waterfront and non-waterfront property. Terrebonne Port Commission, serving our industry to keep Terrebonne thriving.
Welcome back to Bayou Time. I'm Jacob DeGate, joined on the set by State Representative Jerome Zarang, and we're trying to navigate through the list of constitutional amendments that are being proposed for this November 8th election. Or, of course, if you're want an early vote, that's going on right now. You can take advantage of that at this time. But I think we're left off on number 7. Now, this one is one that I think it picked up nationally in whether or not this one deals with involuntary servitude. This one, I guess some people are saying it's a vote to whether or not to ban slavery. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Sure. And this speaks to kind of what the nuance of how you write these things make a difference, and it can affect how people both perceive it and what ultimately is incorporated into the amendment, which could have an impact on how people vote for it. The author of the amendment in the bill is opposing it because of the confusing language. Is an interesting thing. So what they were trying to do is just take out within the Constitution references to slavery. Other states have done this, but they were a little bit more clear in terms of how it was addressed. But the way it's written now, and confusing involuntary servitude and slavery within the same statute that refers to the ability for trustees or others to do work. And that's what makes it a little bit confusing, because in the current Constitution, it says that slavery and involuntary servitude are prohibited, except in the latter case as a punishment for crime. And you compare that with the wording of the amendment, which says slavery and involuntary servitude are prohibited, but this does not apply to the otherwise lawful administration of criminal justice. And what they were trying to achieve is to make sure that work duty or people, prisoners you'd still be able to use that. But it kind of boogers up the language and makes it more confusing than what it has to be. And they could have done other things, like the Tennessee had one similar to this, and their amendment basically said slavery and involuntary servitude are forever prohibited. Nothing in this section shall prohibit an inmate from working when the inmate has been duly convicted of a crime, which is clear. That's basically what the Louisiana amendment was trying to do, but they don't say it as clearly as the Tennessee amendment. So it's confusing, and I think the challenge or the problem is some people interpret the way the amendment is, even if it passed, it doesn't remove the reference to slavery, and it still allows for that condition. And so it's confusing. It was written weird, and I don't know. I don't think, even when the author comes out against it, it has some issues.
Yeah, and it seems like if you do see it fail, then I'm sure the national media is going to try to spin it to saying that the Louisiana people are somehow being racist and not wanting to outlaw slavery.
Right. Well, that's what's so crazy about it, because if it passes, some will say, well, Louisiana people want to continue to allow for slavery. But like you said, if they don't pass it, then, it can be interpreted either way. And that's why it's just, frankly, it shouldn't have been on the ballot, but it is, and so we'll deal with it.
Okay. Next one goes to another, let's see, this one is another assessment property tax issue, if you want to explain this one.
Sure. This is just, again, another exemption or special assessment to allow for groups or folks who have a disability, to allow for an exemption within taxes as well. So in Louisiana, we currently have a special assessment for 4 groups of property owners in specialized circumstances that will allow them to freeze the assessed value of their property to protect them from future tax increases. And that includes property owners who are either permanently or totally disabled. But it applies only to homeowners whose adjusted gross household income is $100,000 or less, and it requires them to certify with the assessor each year that they meet that income criteria. So what this would do, it would remove that requirement that they have to go annually to certify that. The challenge with this is that, or those who are concerned about it, there's no correlation with a disability and income. Essentially it's saying, well, you're disabled, so I'm going to make less, so I should be given this exemption. They don't necessarily correlate. There's no doubt that people would like, and the original intent is to help those folks with disabilities, especially on lower incomes of less than $100,000. And that's why the certification is in place. This removes that annual certification and if there's a temporary disability, what happens if there's some cases where maybe they continue to receive it. So there's I understand, a lot of people understand the need and the intent of what they're trying to achieve, but fulfilling that benefit still could call into question some initial problems, again, either with income or the ability to continue doing it. So it's basically, that's what it does. It removes the requirement that someone with a disability would have to go every year to certify that their income is below $100,000 and they're still disabled.
Okay, so that's your 8 amendments that are being proposed for this November election. Looks like we're not going to have enough time to go through the next 3, but we will bring somebody back. Hopefully, maybe you can come back to when it gets a little closer to the December election, and we can talk to those 3 that are on the ballot. But of course, we went through these 8. I know some people out there have they just simply check no every time a constitutional amendment comes up. But as you said, sometimes there are some good ones out there that need to be looked at a little bit more closely.
Yeah, and the reality is, again, there are some really good ones on here. One for the allow for the investment, others to allow for entities for tax purposes are good. So I encourage everyone to go out and read them and vote your conscience, but there are some amendments to consider.